My name is Dakenrick Allen. Um, this is the first session of investment lessons with Dakenrick Allen. This is something that I decided to put together along with some of my other friends and family members. I wanted to use this as an opportunity to educate those around me, specifically those closest to me, and also continue to grow on my own personal journey. So basically, it's going to be a more of an informal sort of thing. It's not necessarily something that's going to be a prolonged event, so to speak. But hopefully it's something that will grow into or maturate into something that can expand and reach others. That would be the ultimate goal. Currently, right now, the plan is to meet up on Sundays or Sunday evenings, about 5:30 or 6 p.m. One of the reasons for that is that's when most people have time off. So I wanted to find a time slot that was useful or available for most people. Me personally, I work a 9 to 5, just like most of you do. So my weekends are usually free, with the exception of weekends that I have to work in terms of traveling and overtime. But without further ado, I want to get started. I put together a little PowerPoint to kind of help me keep track of things that I want to talk about and discuss today. This won't be a super deep dive in each topic, but it will be something that I'll touch base on in each topic and expound on, and give brief explanations to. Eventually, I want to make it into a series, something that I can pre-record so that those who want to watch it on their own time or when they're available, they can watch, and those who want to join live, they will still be able to join and participate. Also, at the end, for those who haven't joined live, there's an email that I'll put out that you can reach me with. Also, all the resources that I present, I'll make sure that anyone that needs those resources or wants those resources, that you're able to get those. So go ahead and share my screen. I have a PowerPoint. This is my first time doing this, so I have to bear with me. But as tech savvy as I am, I should be able to navigate this as smoothly as possible. Okay, so it looks like from my second monitor, everyone that's participating should be able to see my screen. I have a PowerPoint presenting PowerPoint presentation. It's something to help me keep track of each of the topics and things that we're going to discuss. So I wasn't able to come up with a more creative name. So the name of these meetings will probably change over time, but for our first meeting, I want to call it Investment Lessons Number 1. And I think eventually we'll talk about different things, different key topics. But for today, I just want to focus on budgeting, shares, tax strategies, and accounts. So with that being said, before we do anything, before we start investing, before we start learning how to invest, what to invest in, first thing we need to do is we need to invest in ourselves. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a very popular book. I read it a few years ago myself. Me and a friend actually. She and I we went through the book from cover to cover. It's very brief read. I think most people could grasp the concepts in it and understand. The language is a bit dated, so it's kind of old English the way it's written. So that could be difficult for some people, but the lessons and the concepts that are within that book are very straightforward and easy to understand. But I said that because one of the key lessons from that book is to be able to invest in yourself first, or to invest, save, and pay yourself before you pay anyone else. Um, with that being said, before we do any investing, me personally, I would like to highlight that everyone that wants to invest, which I believe everyone should invest, should invest in themselves first and have a solid foundation to stand on before investing. And obviously, you need income or resources to invest with, right? In our current financial or economic system that we live in, we have what's called fiat currency. So that is usually what people invest with. Um, there are other different types of sources of investment, but I won't get into that today. But first thing, in order to build that solid foundation, is to invest in ourselves, which includes things like education, careers, certifications. Me personally, I've been working in the IT field for probably about seven and a half years going on now, creeping up on a decade. Um, I'm 31 now. Will be 32 coming up pretty soon later this year. And I will say that one of the key things that I've learned in my experience from investing actually was, or one of the most beneficial things that helped me with my investing is investing in myself and educating myself. So um, that can be any type of education, formal education, um, whether you go to school, college, trade school, job corps, whatever the case is. We need to invest in ourselves. Um, Also, doing research on careers uh, that we can thrive in, or if you're not a 9 to 5 type of person and you want to be an entrepreneur, industries and fields that you can solve problems in and start a business and generate revenue in. That's also another uh, way of generating income, um, so that we can generate that fiat currency that we need in order to invest with and buy assets. And also something outside of the formal education that I don't think most people know about, that's very prevalent within the IT industry, are certifications. So in the field that I work in IT, there are a lot of different career fields, job titles, different job roles that you can obtain, and opportunity that you can attain through just having certifications and trainings, which are mostly self-taught. Um, there's a popular podcast that I listen to frequently, especially when I was um, first learning how to invest. It's called the Ramsey Podcast. The reason why I reference him specifically um, is because when I was in debt, I used to, when I had debt, uh, most of my debt was education related via student loans. And currently in America, we have a deficit or debt that totals over $1 trillion across the nation. Also, the other debt, which is very common for most Americans, it was a car payment. So those were the two big ailments or things that um, kept me from, or had me feeling like I didn't really had the resources to get ahead in life, right? So one of the big things that helped me get that jump start was being able to shed off any debt that I had. At the times when I was younger, I did not have a credit card. Uh, But eventually, listening to Dave Ramsey's podcast, like radio show, he he really encouraged me, and like he's done for millions of other people, um, to pay off debt as fast as possible and take that load off of your shoulders, which I think is very important. Um, Probably the most important lesson that he teaches, through his podcast and his educations and events and also books as well. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which I will be showing some videos and well, not videos, but some web pages and resources and tools that we can use for it's called budgeting. I think one of the biggest problems in America today is that people have a spending problem, not necessarily an income problem. Um, I know that people who may be on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram have seen influencers, um, people, everyday people like you and I, who make videos about. Um, Actually, most recently, I saw a series of videos on YouTube um, about TikTokers recording themselves living in storage units, right, right here in America. Um, and that's something. Real estate is another topic, an area of investment that I want to get into a little bit later on in the series. But I just wanted to put that out there that the state of America, um, with there being more than 50% of people living paycheck to paycheck, is, in my opinion, an absolute crisis. Um, and I think we should treat it as such in order to have that sense of urgency to address this crisis that we have here in America. But I think one of the solutions to that crisis is budgeting, which I'll go through some resources and show resources on how we can leverage budgeting to make like things easier in our lives. Another thing is living below your means. So we've all heard the saying of keeping up with the Joneses, trying to live above your means, spending frivolously on things that may not bring value to your life in terms of your lifestyle and actually just, you know, your way of life, right? Which goes back to that original problem of we have a spending problem in this country as individual citizens and our government as well here in America.